My name is Vikram Shankar. This is Tom Englund. We are from the band Silent Skies. We have a new album coming out tomorrow, September 1st. It's entitled Dormant. And we think that it's our best statement yet. It's a level up in pretty much all of the ways that, characterize what we do. So hopefully you guys enjoy it.
People seem to agree.
That they do.
So we know the album is coming out, guys, but how are you actually feeling about it? You've done and dusted. It's waiting to come out to the world now. How are you feeling? Is confident?
I mean, we spent, honestly, an unhealthy amount of time on this album. We've been in every detail because that's something that we really, really enjoy doing also, production-wise. So now it's going to be nice to sort of leave it for the world to enjoy instead of us having to be in it and, fiddle around with stuff that we no longer can affect. So hopefully people will enjoy it. And we're super, super happy with what you have accomplished as it feels on this album.
Yeah. So can you dive into it a bit deeper musically for us and tell us what you're going for with it?
So I can say that one more time?
So can you dive into it a bit more musically and what you were going for?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, basically, there was a willingness to challenge some of our preconceived conceptions of what, is the essential DNA of Silent Skies. And if there were any sort of rules that we had set up on the first two albums, we wanted to have the willingness to challenge those and present new elements if the songs warranted it. So there was a lot of experimentation and a lot of new things being done in terms of instrumentation, in terms of the sound palette, and also in terms of the compositional approaches. I think the result of that is that the album is by far the most varied and diverse one that we've done so far. And I think that there's a lot of growth in terms of, who we are as composers. Just, all the music from the past two albums were kind of setting the foundation. And then now we're kind of watching this thing grow and blossom and seeing where it ends up.
I mean, it's like being a kid in a sense. We're a young band that's growing up and finding our ways and finding what we like and what we don't like and trying to become something that is something that we can stand behind, which is a cool experience for me, being in a band for 30 years with Evergrey. It's a lovely experience to feel young again. So yeah, it's just all good.
And you mentioned the new elements and the new approaches that you've taken with this album. So can you expand on those a little bit more? What have you done differently?
Well, I'd say that there are a lot of different ways to express concepts through song. And, as musicians, there are certain ones that we're used to exploring. For instance, if you think about chordal language and melodic language, these are things that musicians are used to pushing the envelope. And then there's a whole other universe of ways to express yourselves in terms of texture and sound color and ambience. And these are ways that, for me personally, as a classical musician, I didn't start from the very beginning exploring these things. I pushed myself technically and musically. And now I'm starting to think a lot about texture and sound design. And so whether it's, mandolin or soprano and alto recorders or shakuhachi or vocoder effects on Tom's voice or all these different things that we had never tried to do before, including guitars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guitars on this album, and we didn't have a note of guitars on our first two albums. And the idea behind this is just, we asked ourselves, is this a rule? Do we have to not have guitars? Why do we have to not have guitars? If we want to do it, if it suits the song, why not? And
that's what Silent Skies should be for us. It should be something that allows everything. We are by no means, we don't have any rules. We don't want to have any rules, and we don't have, today record labels don't have that power over you, so they can decide, at least not over me, that they can decide what you should do and shouldn't do. If they don't like it, well, too bad.
Exactly. We have to be honest about who we are and what we want to do creatively. I think that the more honest we are about what's really turning us on musically and lyrically and spiritually, the album is going to benefit as a result. And so the listeners ultimately get a stronger experience if we're being true to ourselves.
Exactly.
So you've been described as a cinematic duo. Is that an accurate assessment?
I think the assessment is whatever you like it to be. I mean, we're not chasing a genre. We want to become, I don't know. I heard dark pop duo the other day. That's also as accurate as anything else, basically. I mean, I know that it's important for people to have genres to rely on, but for us, it's more important to be whatever it is. Today it sounds like this. Tomorrow it might sound more ambient or less ambient or more singing songwriting. I don't know. We don't know. It's today it sounds to me like dark ambient pop is and pop not being Britney Spears pop, but short, concise songs get to the point. Yeah.
Whichever way you look at it, your music does paint that it's got a cinematic feel to it. It paints an oral landscape with atmospheres and ambience. So how difficult is it to, like, a lot of music's based around lyrics and the way people sing, but your music's more based on atmosphere and feel. Like, how difficult is it to create that?
It's based on both, I would say. I think that the atmospheric thing is in service of a certain kind of emotion and vibe and character. And, all the experimentation that I talked about before and, so many different new ways of expanding our palette, it's all in service of that essential narrative. And the essential narrative is lyrical. It's expressed through vocals and vocal melodies. And, it's not a concept album, but there are narrative concepts that, weave throughout everything that we do. So that core narrative quality, whether you think of it as lyrics or concept, is what drives the atmosphere as just as much as influences how we write our songs and how we write our vocals.
You sort of touched on this before, but I want to expand on it a little bit. Like, as a band, how much musical growth do you think there is left in Silent Skies?
I think we just touched the surface of a huge Mount Everest of inspiration and musicality, and we don't even know where this is going, so it's hard for us to see an end to the inspiration or creativity. Or I mean, if you think we have honestly, we have at least 10 songs that we haven't even we didn't release yet that are close to being songs already. So it's we're faster than the record label world, and maybe that's something to take into consideration.
And we, in terms of musical growth, it's been growing and developing since the very beginning. The very first things that we wrote together in 2017 sound virtually nothing like what we do now, because the whole process has been self-discovery.
Yeah.
We had to ask ourselves, we're going to start this thing, Silent Skies. What is that? What is Silent Skies? And very quickly, we kind of understood that Silent Skies is whatever we want it to be. So as our musicality grows, as our tastes change, so too does the project of Silent Skies move in various different directions. And as Tom said, it's very hard to foresee what's going to be who we are, 2 months from now, except for the fact that we know that we're going to be honest about who we are, and that honesty and emotional character will be the through line that goes throughout everything we do and all the different permutations of what we do.
Now, most people are familiar with you, Tom, through your role with Evergrey, but tell us a bit more about yourself, Vikram. Like, what attracted you to work in a project like this with Tom?
As I alluded to before, I come from a classical music background. I actually didn't listen to or play anything outside of classical music until I was 12 or 13 years old. So the mentality and the physical process of playing the piano comes from my classical music and jazz backgrounds. But as far as, working together with Tom, what I see is that we come from very different backgrounds. I'm very much from academia and he has the rock and metal background, but we meet in the middle. And that middle intersection point is I would say our shared emotional experiences. It comes from very similar places emotionally and spiritually. And so we're able to express common ideas, whether it's, life experience or the human condition or mental health or anything like this. We experience those things together and we express them together in a common language that is kind of a marrying of the metal melancholy that Tom has been known for so long, and this kind of what began as a classical upbringing, but now has morphed into this electronic ambient thing that, you know, I've been working towards for the last over 10 years of my career.
So the album is out, Dormant is out on September the 1st, but what's next for Silent Skies after that? Have you got plans for the rest of the year?
As I said, we're already writing new songs, but me and Vikram also write a lot of music for video games and feature films and stuff like that. So we have our plate full. We just want to keep on being creative, and in between all of these projects, we sort of try to be masters of time management in order to get everything out that we want to get out. So yeah.
The issue in our lives has never been creativity and quantity of creative juices, that it's always flowing. And honestly, the biggest challenge, as Tom mentioned, is time management and figuring out how to partition our lives to make things happen. But yeah, lots of stuff in the works.
Yeah. And first we do our release party tonight, and then we will have a lot of business people coming and watching us and enjoying it, listening to the album for the first time together with some of our fans, a lot of the business, and yeah, have a few glasses of champagne. Not Vikram, but I'm drinking his. So
you can handle my share.
What a guy. All right, gentlemen. Well, thanks very much for both of your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. The album Dormant is out September the 1st, so best of luck with it, guys, and enjoy your party tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.